Okay, so I've just logged in to Hey Monika, and what has happened here is I've landed on the dashboard, and you will always come to this dashboard as the very first place when you log in. It shows you the number of scenarios and challenges that we have in the platform at the moment and how many of them I've completed. If you're brand new, you won't have completed any yet, but you should have under this Resume Your Learning a Start Here video. Now, this is a very good way to get familiar with Hey Monika, how to find various things. But in this video, I'm going to try and show you that in a kind of summary format. I just want you to be able to get started as soon as possible. So as you complete scenarios and challenges, they will show up here as completed or in progress. But what you need to do to navigate to those scenarios and challenges so that you can even get started is use this bar on the left-hand side. And you can see that when we hover over them, I've got scenarios here and I've got challenges here. I've also got an option to chat with Monika. I'll tell you about Monika in a minute. I've also got my settings, and you won't have this button. This is my developer side of things, so I can edit things in the background. You'll also have this home button at the top, which takes you to this dashboard that we're on right now. And there's a button here if you want to log out. So the main areas you're going to be working are scenario and challenge. The chat with Monika is actually built into the scenarios and challenge, so it's unlikely you'll go here, but it's a feature that people have asked for, so we've put it in. And your settings if you want to manage your account. And just to say, on the account side of things, you can cancel your account at any time. You will be paying through Stripe, and you can just go into settings, edit your billing, and you can cancel your subscription, and it will stay live until the next billing cycle. So you'll still continue to have access. So I'm going to go into the scenarios first to show you around. Now, scenarios are where Hey Monika started. We had lots of questions from people who had been training but hadn't been able to get real life client work to give them that experience element, either for their CV or so that they could start working with their own clients. And what we've done to address this is build a number of fake client scenarios where you're doing a specific piece of accountancy work for a client. They have their own personality, their own background, their story, their own accounts. And what you'll be doing is working through a particular activity for them. So we've got some scenarios for a couple of scenarios, sometimes for the same client. So Amy here, she actually uses the demo company within Xero. So you need access to Xero to work through that one. And she's got two different scenarios. One of them is doing some bookkeeping and analysis. The other one is doing year-end adjustments and depreciation. Adele here, we have a month-end scenario here for her. We've got Ollie, who has a spreadsheet skills and analysis scenario, and various others as well that you can go through. And these are being added to all the time. And just to let you know, in terms of our roadmap and the scenarios that we have, if you head to our website, heymonika.com, and /skills, you can actually click on this library button where you can see all of the challenges and scenarios that are live at the moment and what they cover. Quite a lot of detail here. So Adele month end is the one I was just showing you, so you can see what we'll be doing for her: interim profit and loss review during the financial year, reading trade debtors balance from the balance sheet, sales invoice processing, etc. You can also see what we've got in quality assurance that's about to go live, so you can see we're building things all the time. There are some that we're going to review and decide whether they need to be updated just to keep us up to date. And then we've got a number of planned scenarios. And if you ever have any ideas of something that you want us to have on the roadmap, please reach out to us, hey@heymonika.com, and let us know, because we're interested in your feedback all the time. Okay, so I'm going to go into Adele because she's my kind of poster girl scenario, and she's a sole trader. And every time you go into a scenario, you can restart from the beginning or you can resume. So if you do have to leave the piece of work, you can come back to it by pressing the resume button. So I'm actually going to restart here so I can just show you some of the first questions to show you how this works. So at the beginning, we have a bit of an overview about the client, and then we have a video. I'm just going to turn the volume off. But in this video, the client will tell you a little bit about their business and what they do and why they need your help. This is about setting the scene, a bit like the information you might gather on a discovery call. We've also got some more detail here about her challenges and needs and her goals and aspirations. Now, it's definitely worth reading this. I'm going to just flag something in the Adele scenario. It's something that we're building into a number of different scenarios at the moment. We try to be software agnostic. We know that you might use all sorts of different accounting tools during your training and in practice. And we've built scenarios, as you've seen with Amy, using the demo company within Xero, but we want to give you exposure ultimately to the feeling of doing the accounting work in real life. So what we've done for some of our scenarios is we've built our own custom accounting platform, which deals just with this specific scenario. So here I'm in Adele's ledger and I've got her bank account here. I've got an inbox so I can see emails that her finance email address has received that might help me with reconciling the transactions. And in here, I can go through and use rules if they've been set up. So, for example, this payment to giffgaff, which is a mobile phone bill, has got the information filled out. It goes to telephone, it's VAT, it's actually applying a rule. If I'm happy, I can just match that transaction. Sometimes we need to raise a sales invoice. So this works just like in a normal accounting software. Let's put one in. Ooh, let's try again. Okay, and I'm going to put invoice for books. £20, sales plus VAT, approve. And then you can see that I've got this invoice in here, which is awaiting payment. So it works just like a ledger. We also have purchases. You can upload bills into the software and you can publish them. So if we pop a date in against that one and approve, and then I can go into my bank account and you'll see that I've got a bill here that I need to match against. So it runs just like an accounting tool. You can run your profit and loss account. You can see what's in there. This is that giffgaff payment. You can see that I've matched a payment for consultancy, and I can look at the balance sheet as well. So this works like accounting software. So it feels like in a completely safe environment, you're working with a client's accounts. Okay, sorry, let me go back to Hey Monika. So we're having a look at, so in this scenario, we have some accounting software. To access this, you'll see that there's a link, there will be instructions. So in this case, we need to right click to open it in a new tab so we just don't navigate away from Hey Monika. When you get into the actual scenario itself and doing that work, you'll find that generally you have, you will always have a screen that looks like this. Sometimes you'll have a text question, so it might give you a bit of background and then ask you a question, and then you'll have multiple choice answers. Sometimes rather than a text question, you might have a video embedded. So that might be a voicemail from the client where they've asked you to do something, or maybe an email from a client that you need to read and then you need to decide on what to do next. But ultimately, we're considering the information we're given, we are thinking about the question, and we're answering multiple choice questions as we work through. So I can answer and put the answer in, whether that's right or wrong, and it will give me a bit of feedback. Now, for every question here, you will see on the right hand side, this is always the same view. So we've got a few different buttons. We can get help from Monika. I'll come back to that a bit later. In this particular question, we've got a help video. And just to say, help videos will change for every single question. So these are for that specific question. So here, if I needed a bit more help with finding out whether Adele has made a profit this financial year, I could go and watch a help video. And then this will play for me and I can understand what we're trying to find out. And if you ever want to watch those videos bigger, you can click on this spiky hedgehog circle button, and then you can make that video bigger and you can watch it full size. So you can see exactly what our thinking is as we're working through the questions. We also have something called the document vault. This is a place where the client can share files with us. So at the moment, I've just got some information in here about how to access the accounting software, which I've shown you briefly. But if we need some information from the client, which we may well do in the next question, we can ask the client for that information. So here we're asking Adele, the client, for some PDF invoices. So she's basically, to give you a bit of overview, she is raising invoices to her client, but she's doing it by emailing them a PDF. She hasn't been doing it in her accounting software. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk to the client and I'm going to say, hi Adele, please send me, please send me your sales invoices. Now, just so you know, it's June 2026 right now. We're currently working on the opportunity for you to have a phone conversation with Adele. That will be coming soon, but right now it works as a chat. And she said, I've found the invoices and I've put them in the document vault for you. So this document vault has now got her sales invoices in, and I can then view those and I can go into the ledger and I can go into sales and I can key in those invoices, which means that I'm able to make sure I've got all of the accounts up to date, and then I can answer that question. So I can go through and I can click through and answer the questions. I'll just click through a couple more so you can see that sometimes we have a video embedded. So here's an example. We've received a voicemail from Adele. So this will play. but this one will play and then you can have a listen, just like if a client had left you a message, and you can find out the answer to the question and then you can continue. So that's how this works. And on the left-hand side here, you can just see the different sections that you're working through. So we started with getting access to her software. We've gone through and recorded her sales and purchases, and then we're going to do a bank reconciliation, and then I'll know that I can complete. And you always click on the next question. Once you've answered the question, you click next. And when you get right to the end, this button will say finish scenario, and then you'll get a congratulations message if you passed, or you'll get a sort of let's get this right for next time answer if you haven't. Now, something to tell you about when you've passed. So there are lots of scenarios that we've built for you covering all sorts of different skills. And if you go to our website under library, you can see the challenges and scenarios that we've already built and the skills that they test. So that's quite a nice way to choose, is this the right scenario or challenge for me to attempt? But also, if you click on the skills button, you can see a range of skills that are covered in exam syllabuses. And we've been through the major accounting and bookkeeping professional bodies' syllabuses to understand what is being tested so that we can bridge that gap between exams and real life. And what we've tried to do is match our scenarios and challenges to those specific syllabus points that you're learning about. So for example, there's one here about critical thinking: know how to ask open probing questions to generate useful information. We believe that's been covered in part in the Adele scenario. So if you wanted to go and test out that skill, you could go in and have a look at that Adele one. So that's another way to look at the skills. But once you've completed a scenario, if you get that success message, the well done, you've passed message, which will be within Hey Monika on the final page once you've completed, you'll also be given a code. It will take the format of something like HM and then a couple of letters and then some numbers, and you'll be able to key that code into our website at heymonika.com/CV to add it to your record, and there are instructions on the top about how to do this. You can also pop your name in there as well, so that it looks like a professional work experience record. It's got a bit of an explainer for employers about what this document is, but ultimately what it does is it lists out the accounting scenarios that you've attempted or you've completed and passed. So for example, I might have done the Lighthouse Wellness Practice scenario, which is about making tax digital, and it lists out the skills that I've demonstrated. I might have done the Adele month end. It lists out what skills I've covered in that. I've done another one here. And then we've also got the challenge mode, which we haven't spoken about yet, but we'll get into next, where it lists out what we've covered in our challenge mode assessments as well and what kind of skills we've developed. And this is a nice printable document that you could attach to a CV if you wanted to demonstrate the work experience that you've been doing through the Hey Monika platform. Okay, so that's scenario mode. What I'm going to do now is go into challenge mode. So challenges have been built to really focus in on a specific skill. So you can think of scenario mode as an opportunity to work with a client end to end through a particular piece of accounting work that needs to be done, whereas challenges really get you to understand the purpose of the skill when it's applied in real life and give you exposure sometimes to more than one different company or organization or different view or different tool for doing that particular piece of work. At the moment, we've got beginner and intermediate challenges. So the beginner challenges have been built for people who are brand new to industry. They're brand new to practice and they want to understand some of the fundamentals. Maybe you've started studying, but you're not quite sure how this works in real life, or you haven't even started studying yet and you want to get up to speed, ready for the workplace. So the beginner challenges cover things, and you can search by beginner or intermediate, but you'll find the beginner challenges cover things like accounting environment, key terms like assets and liabilities, cash book, petty cash, critical thinking, professional communication, the world of business and how businesses make money. So if you want to understand some of those fundamentals right at the beginning, those beginner challenges are for you. And then in the intermediate challenges, we've got some of the year-end reconciliations that you'd be preparing, understanding why that reconciliation is important, what to look for, what to document, and taking you end to end through the process of producing that working paper. I'm going to go into one of these. They work very similarly to the scenarios, but they don't have a fake client. So the difference is you don't have a client here. This is all about a skill. And what happens in challenge mode is you have a trainer who's here to talk you through and almost sort of coach you through doing that particular activity. So I'm going to go into critical thinking and AI. This is very topical for us at the moment in our industry. It's changing a lot of what we do. It always starts with a video from a trainer telling us a little bit about what we're going into. She's talking to us about information and data and how sometimes information isn't what it seems. And we get a bit of information here about the activity as well. We also might be pointed to some resources that are in the document vault. So for example, here we've got a document about critical thinking skills, which has been added to the document vault, and I'll show you that in a second. I'm just going to restart this particular challenge. So I'm going to click on restart here. And what we'll do is we'll go into this screen, and it looks very similar to how you see it in scenario mode. We've got down the left-hand side the different stages of this challenge that we'll be working through. So we're going to do working with AI, and then we're going to look at facts and framing. We've also got a button to get help from Monika. There might be some help videos. There might be some help documents, and we've got access to the document vault. So let's just jump into that document vault. And here, rather than having to ask a client like we did in scenario mode for documentation, it's much more likely that the documents will be here, but it will always tell you in the question if you need to, if that document is available that you need to use. So we start with a video in this working with AI in this question. We've got a video from our trainer, and she's talking to us about AI and what do we need to know about it, and then we can answer those questions. And it always gives us some feedback and we can work through. We've got another one here with a video. It's showing us a decision tree that's been generated. The question is about what do we need to do before we send this off to the client, and we need to answer that question. So we can work through all of these. And again, when you get to the end of a challenge, you will have a code given to you, which you can then add into your work experience record. So here I've got the world of business. I haven't got the critical thinking and AI one, but I've got a couple of other challenges, and it just gives a description of what kinds of things I've been covering in that assessment. Okay. The only thing that I haven't shown you is how to get help from Monika. So you also have Monika available. Now, who is Monika? She's your business bestie. She is the person who sat next to you in the office who's ready to answer any of your technical questions. So she's here if you had a question about an expense that a client could claim, or the rules about a particular type of transaction. This is what she's here for. She's the person that you would ask who's the technical expert in the office, who's able to give you that sort of support and mentoring. So Monika's there for you at any time. You can type your question into her, you can send it off, she'll have a think about it, and then she'll respond to you as well. I think that's all I need to show you. I hope that was helpful. I hope that was helpful. If you need any questions, if you've got any support, the best thing to do is email us hey@heymonika.com. We can help you with any queries, any problems that you're finding with the software, anything you just can't quite get to the bottom of, please do reach out to us. I'll also point you again to the pages on our website, heymonika.com. If you go to heymonika.com/skills, that's where you'll find what's new, our current status, our roadmap, our library, and that skills bank. And we've also got some buttons at the top that will help you. If you want to fill in that CV, it's just heymonika.com/CV. And something to mention here, actually, this lives locally on your computer, the CV. So if you open this page on a different computer, it's not going to have your information in it. So I would suggest that once you filled it in, you do print it out, but you also have this button here to copy your codes. It will give you a little snippet, a little bit of text that you can copy, save it in your notes somewhere, and then when you come back to this page in the future and you've got new completions to add in, you can just restore your codes by clicking on this button, paste that little bit of text in, and then you can key in any new codes that you've collected as well. I hope that's helpful. I'm really excited to see how Hey Monika helps you. Please stay in touch with any questions you've got, any suggestions you've got for scenarios or challenges or improvements we can make. We're building this for you, and I wish you so much success.